Like,
Did did either of you watch any of that Pepsi documentary about the jet yet?
Not yet.
Not
No.
yet.
Okay. I won't
watch
spoil
it,
it or
though.
anything. It's real good. Anybody listening, it's on Netflix. It's a documentary, like 3 or 4 episodes about the true story of when Pepsi advertised their points program. You get a jet for this many points, or you get a jacket for this many points, some sunglasses for this many, and at the end of the commercial, Harrier jet, 7 million points, and someone called them on it, came up with 7 million points, and wanted their fucking jet, and they were like, what do you really want? And they were like, we want the fucking jet. And they're like, yeah, but how about like a lot of money? I already told you once, my friend. We're here for the jet. and Pepsi's just like, it doesn't make any sense. He wants a jet, he says. like they don't know how to deal with this guy.
Did they offer him the equivalent in cash?
Oh,
like
no.
$32 million or something?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. Because I might have settled for that.
They offered him enough money that as a kid who had just come up with some Pepsi points, probably should have. Most people, I think, would have taken it.
He spent $4.5 million, right, to get the jet?
No, he spent $700,000 from he got an investor to put in $700,000, and the idea would be, because that's all it took. When you bought the points, they had a program where, hey, you need to round up your points a little. You sell points for X amount of points for 10 cents, and he was like, 7 million points is $700,000. So here's your check. They wrote in Harrier jet, and they mail it to Pepsi, and they wait. And Pepsi's like,
did they cash it?
Well, they don't know what to do. They're like, we could just cash this check and send him back a model. And that's what we showed in the commercial was we could send him the thing from the commercial, that model we recorded, and cash his fucking check. And they're like, no.
No, it has to be a functional Harrier.
I watched a different documentary where a guy bought a Harrier jet. And apparently there's a lot of rules around who's allowed to own them and whether you qualify. The FAA weighs in on your but he was the guy. He was like a what do they call it? A test pilot. So like he was previously a test pilot. Now he's old, he's retired, and he has enough money to buy a Harrier jump jet. Yeah. And he's
the guy. Yeah. They're like, sir, do you know sure you're gonna be able to fly this Harrier jump jet? I've never had a problem flying a Harrier jump jet. I tested that one actually before it was called a Harrier jump jet. It was the XB-74 back then.
It's like, well, I don't know, sir. I was smart enough to trick Pepsi. Like, so I think I can handle this.
And you also get a little background into like how awful Pepsi is as a company. I'll spoil this little bit.
I will not have your Southern Coca-Cola bias weigh into my Pepsi.
Diet Pepsi is better than Diet Coke.
Pepsi put on a contest in this poor country. I can't remember where. Maybe Singapore. Doesn't matter where. But in a poor country, they put on this contest where they were going to give you the equivalent of like 40,000 pesos or $40,000. It was $40,000 in pesos. 1 million pesos then was like $40,000. And basically, you pop the cap on your Pepsi, and there's a number under there. If you get 3 of the, and they're going to read out the number on TV one night. It's like a lottery, basically. So everybody's keeping their caps. People are giving up meals to buy Pepsi. And you're interviewing people. And Manny Pacquiao is from there. Where's Manny from? Because that's where it is. Manila?
Philippines.
Oh,
right.
Okay. So Manny's like, I went to the dumps. Me and my friends, we'd go through the trash looking for caps. Everyone, they give up their meals for caps. Anything they could do. Coca-Cola fell to nothing here. Only Pepsi's like sales just many-fold over and over because everybody's trying to win this money. Finally, they read the number out on the news. 359. Everybody looks at the caps. They've all got one. They've all got 359. Huge. Everybody thinks they've won the lottery. And then they start hearing like, oh, so-and-so says he's got one. He's a fucking liar. I got one. Show us. I'm not bringing that thing out. I'm waiting to get my money from Pepsi. Finally, it comes out. They're like, computer error. Wrong number, boys. We're not paying out. Actually, how about this? Y'all get $20. They rioted, and some Pepsi trucks blow up. And
holy shit!
When the Pepsi trucks blow up and the factory gets attacked and some people die, all of a sudden all the attention sways back Pepsi's way. It's like, oh, these people have gone violent. They're blowing up trucks. Turns out after an investigation later on, it was determined that Pepsi blew their own trucks up. Of course, the people who came up with who discovered that were paid off a generation later, and they say, no. We think the current story there locally, after Pepsi talked to them, is that rival bottlers bombed the trucks.
Moderate rebels.
So basically, Pepsi ripped these people off. There were many deaths because of it, and then they bombed their trucks to sway local opinion away and make themselves look clean.
They false flagged their own beverage trucks.
Yeah. Pepsi's
genius.
Allegedly in Minecraft, according to that documentary that somebody said on Netflix.
Well, I mean, a documentary with an agenda. Show me one. You know,
Fahrenheit 9/11.
Have you ever seen a documentary where a guy's like, "I'm just interested in this, and I'm going in with an open mind"? Like it's always like, today we're going to talk about food and how everything is poison except for what I'm selling. Which
they give a good.
right.
I can only come to the conclusion that this doc gives a fair shake because 3 or 4 bigwigs from Pepsi are in it. Like they're there giving their side.
Former bigwigs, like bigwigs at the time.
The people who were doing the stuff that the doc is about, like the people, and not just like, oh yeah, I was working bottling. It's like, yeah, I designed the commercial. It's my commercial. And then they got the other guys like, yeah, I was running Pepsi marketing then. Yeah, I pay the guy who comes up with the commercials, and it's like, yeah, and I'm Pepsi legal. Like, and like, yeah, I'm the lawyer who works for Pepsi legal. Like they have all of these people in the doc, and you get all of their like points of view. And it's good when you've got 2 people telling the same story about an event that happened in the 90s, because then they can be like, you remember? Then he came in and said this. And he's like, yeah, he did. And so it's a fun little documentary about a wacky marketing campaign that Pepsi came up with. I liked it a lot.
That stuff's always so fun when like someone works a way around like some big corporation's contest, like like that. Obviously this one is way more impressive than like fucking with Mountain Dew name suggestions, but like all of that stuff is great.
Yeah. I believe the movie Punch Drunk Love with Adam Sandler has to have been inspired by this Harrier jet instance.